Had an amazing revelation this morning and wanted to come and share it with you. I was in a conversation with my son, and he's at an age where he's no longer dependent on me for survival, and something changes between the dynamic of a parent and a child when the child is no longer dependent on the parent. And I knew that a dynamics had changed through my own experiences with my parents, but I thought that happened as a result of the disconnect that we had, the severe dysfunction of lack of security that I experienced, and the lack of connection that I had with each one of my parents. And I thought that because of that, it resulted in this dynamic and this type of relationship that I have with my parents. And so I was not prepared, and I had no bandwidth for what was going to happen when my son shifted from depending on me for his survival into him shifting into his independence. So at 16, he purchased his own vehicle, purchased his own driver's license and insurance, and had already been participating in multiple different financial opportunities, including starting a small lawn care business. And so quite abruptly, not long after that, he got a girlfriend, and in the blink of an eye, seemingly, he shifted from an adolescent needing his parents. Now, granted, can he move out and be completely independent? No. Does he have enough confidence in him now at 17 to where he could figure out and find a way to make it? Yes, he does. I mean, and that's not the goal for him to move out and exercise his independence, but I'm talking about the dynamic that happened when what precipitated him to develop his own understanding and viewpoint of his parents, the way that he looks at my husband and I, and the way that he communicates with my husband and I is very different. And because I'm deeply feeling, I process life on multiple layers, not just on the surface. I have been sensing this and experiencing this, but haven't had the words to actually put it into a tangible understanding. And 2017, 2018, when I went through one of the first rounds of spiritual awakening that I experienced, and my heart got cracked open, and I just the fog started to lift in a lot of ways. That preliminary level of fog, we could say that the veil became thinner, if that makes more sense. And I had this deep revelation and gratitude that I always thought that my children were entrusted to me because I was supposed to be their teacher. But the flip got switched, and I realized that they were my teachers and the catalyst for so much transformation in my life. And I had this sacred gratitude for that and for them. And it shifted me into a deeper level of trust, of trusting God with their life and understanding that they were sovereign beings. However, as I have gone through my own evolution and growth and so many ups and downs, it seems like I lost sight of that, and recently found myself in this place of, as I feel and observe and see him developing this new relationship with me, not as a child or a teenager that needs me for his survival, but one that is entering into his own mind, his own ability to discern and analyze and call out BS, quite frankly, when he sees it. And it's been very shocking and traumatizing to my system because of my own egoic beliefs and thoughts and traumas that have not yet been absolved and alchemized into love and light. And also because I wasn't expecting it. I feel like I'm finally at a place, okay, so from like my human egoic self, like I'm finally at a place with my husband where we really understand each other, like on a more deeper level than we have in the past 20 years that we've been 20 something years that we've been married. Where it's like we've crossed milestones in our individual lives, in our marriage and in our adulthood and our finances. And so I've just wanted to and finally at a place where I can take it in and enjoy being a family of four, and feel that security and that stability while not being attached to it, obviously, but just, I guess, after going through so much trauma and health issues and financial things that we've been through, it's like I can finally just breathe, even if it's just for a minute. And now the whole dynamic of my family is changing because I have a 13-year-old going on 20. He thinks he's about to be 14, but he thinks that he's always trying to hang with his big brother. And so then I have my oldest who just turned 17, and I am experiencing a huge shift, and I'm having to let go and to surrender yet again on this next level, and I wasn't prepared for it. And so I'm in the deep trenches of being with myself as this human experiencing this, and then also connecting with a higher version of me that knows that this is an opportunity for transcendence, and that I don't want to have any energetic cords on him that makes him feel like he owes me anything. And today I got a deep wisdom and revelation that I'm not only being called to surrender and let go, but I was given deep downloads this morning of how this is cleansing and clearing ancestral line between the parent, the mother, and the son dynamic on my mother's side and my father's side through my ancestors. And so this is really deep, intense work. And I found myself in a conversation with my son this morning, and he was expressing his opinion about how basically the vibe was that I'm basically just not like everybody else. I'm a bit strange. He didn't use those words, but it was a clear energetic vibration. Like I said, Josiah, 90, I don't even know how much percent of communication is nonverbal, and you're saying a lot without saying anything. And so it triggered that part of me that wants to feel accepted. And I said, I just never thought that I'd be rejected by my own son. And he said, well, we're not dating. How are you rejected? Is that even a thing? He didn't say it in that many words, but he said, well, we're not dating. And wow, that stopped me in my tracks, and it made me be able to observe this egoic version of me, this unhealed version of Elise that has been wanting to be accepted my whole life, and I'm not like most people. I'm different. I've always been different. It's the story tagline of my life between all the families that I was, dragged through, and never really felt like I belonged to any of my grandparents or my parents or their extra spouses that they married and their families. And it's just like I'm feeling like an outsider even in my school academic experiences. And yeah, it's just been kind of like this tagline that I've carried with me all these years. And when he said that, it hurt for a minute, but then I was like, you know what? It's not your responsibility to like reject me or accept me. Number one, yes, it is weird because we're not dating. Number two, it just is an interesting dynamic, I told him, because it's a process. And what came to me in this conversation is that, as mothers, we tend to our children, and they do need us, and they love us, and they accept us as their parent because they're dependent on us for survival. But to the parts of us that dealt with trauma and don't have that trauma healed and didn't feel loved or accepted in like our lives because of variety, whatever our traumas are, when our child loves us because they're dependent on us for survival, you experience a bond, and that temporarily fills a void. And so the void that's no longer being filled is because he's not dependent on me for survival. And he's not being disrespectful or doing anything wrong. It's just the void that was being filled as a result of this mother-son bond that we had when he was dependent on me for survival is now like a gaping wound again, because he's not filling that void, and it was never his job to fill that void to begin with. And so by him becoming an independent adult and feeling safe enough to express his truth with me, and that truth is setting me free, I'm able to again learn from him, my teacher. He taught me this morning, and he reminded me of the truth that I will forever be chasing acceptance and belonging. Because I even told him, I said, well, we're a tribe. Aren't you supposed to be accepted within your tribe? He's like, I'm like, a tribe is like a family. And he wasn't having it. And that's when the clarity of the spiritual realm came in. And it's like, Elise, you've learned this lesson so many times. When we truly embody self-acceptance and belonging, it allows for us to receive the acceptance that we are already loved. We are loved. We are accepted. We can't not be rejected. Can we be misunderstood? Yes. And that's okay, because everybody is living their life through their own individual unique lens. And am I in lack that I need someone to understand me, to validate me, to see me, to accept me, and not reject me? Is it really somebody else's job? Just like peace. Peace is not an outside job, because the plates are always spinning differently. Everything in life is always evolving and changing. We cannot control and manipulate peace. Peace happens on the inside. And also so does acceptance. And when I truly accept myself and own my individuality, own my uniqueness, own my quirks, own the fact that, like, yeah, I don't freaking fit in the regular boxes of society and life. When I truly own that, it's then and only then that I will be able to walk in peace and ownership and purpose, because I will no longer be dependent or groveling or needing someone else's love acceptance. And the paradox of that is that when I walk in that, then I'm going to run into people that see me and, express how they love my uniqueness and how they feel seen through my own uniqueness. And that's going to be a beautiful thing. But it's because I'm walking in completion and abundance and not lack. And so that trigger today hit me. And it's not because I'm bad. It's not because I'm a terrible mother or I should be ashamed of myself. It's because darkness was exposed, and I went and I meditated and I grounded and I parented that version of Elise that needed her own love. And I'm good. I'm grateful. I shined the love I shined the light infused with love into that gaping wound and applied balm and let it know that it can heal now. And that was the gift that my son gave me today. I am forever grateful.